welcome to part 2 of my little video where I'm going to show you how to make a piece cloth pincushion. So if you want to know how to do the piece cloth and you didn't see part 1, go and watch that first, because that shows you how I put the cloth together. And I've said before, this is not my method. This is something that I have been doing for a while, and lots of other people have done it, and women have done it for hundreds of years. It's just how I like to do it because I like the look of it and the feel of it. It's very tactile. So in the last video, I think I did this little bit here, and I have added a couple of bits onto this one and then done the back. So if you're joining in, you need 2 pieces. This, let me show you the other little one that I did. So this will make a bigger pincushion than this, but you'll be surprised actually once you've sewn it and you've stuffed your little pincushion, it will come up smaller than you think. Let me just tell you how big this is. So this is roughly sort of 11 centimeters by 13 centimeters ish. You can make yours any size you want. You don't even have to be doing a pincushion, you can be doing anything, but that's how big mine are, to give you a rough idea. Once you've come this far, then comes a really good bit, which is embellishing it, and also the fun you can have with the colour combinations that you come up to. You could have put you could have put black thread with that. It's never ending. That's why I make so many pincushions, because I always think of another colour combination. So I've got some yarn that I'm going to use on that for couching, and maybe some tapestry wool. I'm not quite sure yet. I've just gathered some colours that I like, and then a little bit of thread, which I like the colour of, and maybe a bit of lace. I would only use a tiny bit of that, so don't think, oh, I haven't got lots of lace. You only need a tiny scrap of lace. The smallest bits of fabric, I'm not going to make any apologies for this. I would literally keep that little bit because I love that fabric. That would look lovely sewn on. And then I've got lots of bits of fabric. Oh, it's this. I have this. I have a couple of these, and I save these because I think this is lovely to cut round, and I might cut that round and applique that on. So you can do applique, you can do couching, you can do, this is my friction pen, which there are lots of other different pens that do exactly the same thing. You don't have to have this. Do not rush out and buy a friction pen. You can just use a pencil because you're going to be stitching over it. But this is something you can write on. You write on your fabric, and then if you touch an eye into your work, it will just disappear. So I'm going to do a little embroidery on here. My favourite thing, I'm going to do cow parsley, and on the other side I think I'm going to write something. So if you don't know where to begin, literally choose, let's start with a bit of embroidery. So I'm going to do an embroidery on this one, I think, in this gap, which kind of lends itself to it. As I said, if you don't have a pen, you can also get those that disappear in water, or you can just use a pencil. And then I'm just going to draw a cow parsley plant ish to go on here, and just have fun. It's slow stitching. It's not going to be perfection. You don't want perfection. That's what slow stitching is not. That's it. And then I'm going to get a bit of thread. This is DMC thread, which I've pulled from the wrong end and tangled. There we are. There's one end you pull it from and one end that you don't. I always forget. I think you pull it near the top. I always put it from the bottom, or the other way around. I always get it wrong. Use as many, if you're going to do this and you want to use DMC, this is 6 strands. Anchor, there are lots of other brands. You have 6 strands. You can see if you separate it. I would usually use 2 for mine, just because that's what I like to use. So if you hold them in your hand and then just pull, you'll be able to pull a thread out. Straighten it up and then do the same thing, pull yourself another thread. Got two there, that's going to cause trouble. There we are. Then straighten out your thread. That can wait for in a minute, and then just put your two bits of thread together and thread your needle. If you have an embroidery needle, great. If not, use what you have. An embroidery needle will have a slightly longer eye. Rather than being a small circle, this is slightly longer. Don't know what size this is. Probably a 5, could be a 7. I honestly don't know. Little knot, make a knot. Put the thread against your finger, put the needle on there. Hold it tight, a couple of twists. Hold it all together in your finger and pull it through for a simple knot. And then I always do a couple of stitches to secure it. Absolutely fine to do a knot on the back if that's what you would prefer. I just do a couple of stitches so that it's not going to come undone. That's just the way I like to start. And then I'm going to do just a stem stitch. Which I'll probably use a whip stitch afterwards, give it a bit more texture. I'm not going to spend too long on this because I will do separate videos on all these sort of stitches. You can do back stitch here, you can do running stitch, you could do couching, but you're basically going in above and then coming back, always keeping the thread downwards. So again, in, back, that stem stitch. And you could do anything at all. You don't have to do my obsession cow parsley. You could do a daisy. You could write a name. So when you get to the top, I'm now going to do a split stitch along here, which means you take a stitch forward and then come back, and you've got your stitch here, and you literally split your stitch. You go between the two stitches. So if you've got 2 strands, 3 strands, 4 strands, you'll be able to do it. Go back, split your stitch, go forward. Not using a hoop, so every now and then give your work a little tug, and then go on to the next one. Do the same thing. So I've finished the stem and I'm just filling in with lots and lots of French knots. French knots, I love them. Not everybody does. Again, I'll be doing all of these stitches in detail, but pull the thread to your left gently, wrap once, twice, or however many times you want to. Oftentimes on here I'll only do 1. Keep this taut. It's difficult to show you without a hoop actually, but keep this taut as you pull it through. And then you'll have a lovely little French knot. And when you're doing French knots, so now I'm going to do it just with 1 twist. When you're doing a French knot, keep it taut again and pull it through. The best way to get that fluffy look that you get with cow parsley is to do different sizes. Twist it so that they're all different direction. I'm going to do one with 2 again. And if you do one that's really loopy, it doesn't matter. Matter at all. So this is just an idea. As I say, you could do absolutely anything you wanted, but cow parsley and polka dot is my, I haven't got any polka dot on this, I might need to find some polka dot, is my thing. It's what makes me happy, so it goes on everything. Thank you so much for all your lovely messages from the first video. I'm so thrilled that so many people are doing slow stitching and piece cloth, and I just love it because I'm going to get one more out of this. because that just makes me happy to think that other people will be learning how to do a simple thing like slow stitching. You can't even see this thread, so I'm just doing a couple of little tiny stitches and I'm going to cut it. So that's the first little thing. Now, oh, something else I was going to show you. I've got these are little wood block prints that I've got, but you know you can buy stamps that you would use in journaling or something like that. You can put stamps on your slow stitching as well, which is a really lovely thing to do, and just leave them as stamps, or you can stitch on the pattern that you've made. So I'm not going to use that on this, but I thought I'd show you as another idea. So all I'm going to really do now is just add bits, add tiny little bits. So I've got, where's my button? I've got a button somewhere, I'll find that in a minute. I'm just going to add bits of fabric on. So for example, this little scrap, I think that's a little piece of French general fabric, just love it. I don't throw anything away. And what I would do is give that a scrunch up and then just add it on. So you've already got texture there, so pin that on and place things and think, where would you like things to go? So that, for example, on that side, I am going to put that there because I like it. Any tiny little piece that you've got, any lace, so I am going to put a tiny bit of that lace on as well. I might put that near, I don't want to obscure that though. So basically, have a play, just get out all the bits and pieces that you've got and have a play. And then once you're happy with how it starts to look, start to stitch it down. And if you change your mind, that's fine. So some of this is going to be, you're going to be sewing all around the outside of this, so the very edges of this. Don't put anything too close to the edge because you'll miss it. It will get incorporated in the seam. And then I think I'm going to just write, because I do like some writing, I'm going to put that there. These are a little box of vintage pins that I got, and I love using them because I love to think about who may have used them before me. I'm going to put that there. And I think I'm going to write something along there. Been bent, so look, someone's used that before me. Isn't that lovely? Yeah, I think I'm going to put some writing on there, and then I'm just going to start stitching, but it's just to give you an idea of how you can embellish. Tiny bits of fabric, a little bit like this. I feel like this has got to go on because I love linen, so I would probably finger press that. I found that button that I wanted to put on, so I will probably finger press that into a little square and put it on here, maybe sort of appliqued on. Let me pin that down, and then when that's on, I'll probably, where's my button? I've lost my button again. Found it. What I would do then is probably put that on there. Look at that, see, that makes me happy. That's going to go on, yeah, that's going to happen. And then just start stitching, and could put lots of little running stitches, you could put French knots on it, you could embroider little flowers on there, you could put sequins on, whatever makes you happy. This, for example, this was a little tiny scrap of fabric that I had. You could put that on there. This is why I save my scraps, because this is the fun part. So just stitch them down. I'm going to use this quite a bit. This is Aurifil 50 weight. It is expensive, but I love it and it lasts absolutely ages. You could also just use any thread you've got. You could use embroidery floss, you could use the Aurifil that I've been using for embroidery, you could use any normal sewing cotton, anything you've got, because the more the different textures and all the different colours etc. on there, depending on your colour scheme, the better it will be. So get stitching. So basically just keep adding all the little bits of fabric that you like in any which way you choose. This I'm just doing an applique on, applique stitch, stitching it down. Doesn't matter if it's a perfect circle, I didn't cut it out as a perfect circle, it's just going on as I want it to. And then you're going to find when you start slow stitching that you'll look at fabric differently. You'll find a little scrap of fabric like this that I cut round. I would not dream of throwing that away, and I think when you don't do slow stitching you just see that as a little scrap. I wouldn't throw that away. I think, oh, I could definitely use that again, if you love the fabric, obviously. Yeah, so just keep going. Keep embellishing, change your mind if you want to, write things on if you want to, and just have fun. It's taking shape. I've moved this. When you do couching, I haven't had time to show you, I will go back and make little videos showing, but with couching stitch you just do little tiny stitches to stitch this down. That's all couching is, but I will show you all those things another time. That's how the other side is looking. In fact I can do it now. I've decided I'm going to write bloom. So again, using my friction pen, I'm just going to write bloom on here because I want to. Yeah, that's lovely. So happy stitching, keep going, embellish, and as soon as I finish doing this, I will show you how to put it together, which is really simple. So happy stitching. It's a wonderful thing to have to slow stitch, because you will always have that, just a scrap of fabric, needle and cotton, and you're away.